Hey there, I'm Ron DeSantis, straight from the Sunshine State of Florida. I must say, I couldn't resist the opportunity to hop on this platform when I heard a fellow Floridian was moderating. Tucker may not be able to handle our sizzling Florida summers, but hey, who can blame him? You know what they say, the Florida summer is the price we pay for the glorious February weather. In this opportunity, I'm going to give you a summary of my conversation with Tucker on Blaze Media's The Summit. This 40-minute dialogue was summarized using PodFast, an AI content summary tool. Now let's dive into the topics at hand, starting with abortion. As many of you know, I signed a ban on abortion after 6 weeks here in Florida. And let me tell you, I am proud to be a pro-life governor, and I will be a pro-life president. I believe it's important to develop a culture of life in our country. We can't overlook the barbaric practices that have been allowed, like post-birth abortions of fully formed 6 or 7 month old babies. It may take time to make progress in some parts of the country, but as president, I'll use the bully pulpit to support governors in states that advance the cause of life. Now, I know not everyone agrees with me on this issue, and that's okay. We should be able to have respectful conversations with those who have a different position. I often reflect on a powerful moment in my life when I heard my daughter's heartbeat during an ultrasound. It made a profound impact on me. With advancements in science and technology, we have the ability to bring more people over to the pro-life side. At the end of the day, it's about recognizing that a baby with a detectable heartbeat is a life, and we're better off when everyone is given a chance. Shifting gears, let's talk about the environment, specifically the red tide problem in Florida. You see, my approach to the environment is different from the left's singular focus on climate change. Florida is facing real environmental challenges like the red tide, which seems to be getting worse and affecting people's health. We have taken action by creating infrastructure and task forces to tackle issues like blue-green algae, Everglades restoration, and red tide. We're investing in experiments to mitigate the effects of red tide. We understand that red tide is a natural occurrence, but we're doing everything we can to prevent exacerbation and protect the environment that Floridians cherish. Oh, and by the way, the whole nation seems to be flocking to Florida. It's like everyone is moving here, but don't worry, we're getting the good ones. They're coming here because Florida's a free state where we reject lockdowns and prioritize things like keeping our kids in school and ensuring low crime rates. Sure, there may be some concerns about an influx of people from other states, but we've welcomed those who believe in what we're doing. And guess what? We're even converting some former non-Republican voters to join our team. It's all about representing common sense, sanity, and traditional American values. Now let's talk foreign policy, specifically Ukraine. You may have heard some conflicting views about my stance on the war in Ukraine. Here's the deal. I believe in having a concrete objective when it comes to military involvement. Having served in Iraq, I learned the importance of defining our goals. So my critique of the DC foreign policy elite is that they often fail to give a clear articulation of where we're going and when we'll achieve our objectives. I've always believed that Putin is a bad guy, but that doesn't mean we should dive headfirst into an open-ended conflict without a strategy. As president, I would prioritize the threats to our national security, and the top threat is China. We need to focus on deterring China's ambitions and safeguarding our interests, both at home and abroad. We cannot have a never-ending mess in Ukraine with American troops involved. Nope, that's a big no-no. I've got some folks in Congress trying to play tough, but they lost badly. Only got 33 votes. Can you believe it? And let me tell you, we can't even account for all the money we sent over there. It's like we don't even know where it went. It's a mess, just like not knowing who's crossing our southern border or whose cocaine was in the White House. Crazy, right? Now let's talk about another issue. We've got parents in Florida fighting for their rights because some people think it's okay to put adult material in our kids' schools. I mean, come on now, does that even make sense? If you want to see that stuff, just check out Hunter's laptop. I'm sure it's packed with it, but we're not allowing that in our schools. Now let's get into this whole digital currency thing. The Federal Reserve wants to issue central bank digital currency, but I'm saying no way. I'm not letting that happen in Florida, and I don't think other states will either. They want to get rid of cash and cryptocurrency and make this digital currency the only form of legal tender. But let me tell you, that's a huge threat to our liberty. They'll have the power to control what we can and can't buy. It's like they want to impose a social credit system on us. Not happening, folks. We also talked about the importance of having the right people in government positions right from the start. I firmly believe that delaying these appointments allows career bureaucrats to take over and hinder progress. I stress the need for individuals with strong character, willing to stand up to media and political scrutiny. To illustrate this, I mentioned Clarence Thomas, a Supreme Court justice who stays true to his beliefs despite criticism. During the conversation, I also discussed the power of the president and disagreed with the notion that certain bureaucrats can't be held accountable. I mentioned the possibility of firing FBI agents who harass pro-life activists and those who collude with big tech to censor dissent. Accountability is crucial, and I made it clear that if I were president in 2020, I would have fired Anthony Fauci for his actions. Censorship during the last presidential election had a significant impact, and those responsible should face consequences. We also delved into the issue of government surveillance, emphasizing that it should be focused on protecting citizens from foreign threats, not spying on them without a warrant. I have plans to declassify information and ensure the government is not using classification to evade accountability. My goal is to end the weaponization of government and consider pardons to hold people accountable for any wrongdoing, ensuring a fair justice system. I want to shift power away from Washington and distribute it to states like Iowa and Alabama. Regarding the future Democratic nominee, I'm uncertain about Joe Biden, believing that the people should have the opportunity to choose what's best for the country. I compared the freedom in Florida to the challenges faced in San Francisco with public defecation, which is a point that will stick with people. And finally, let's talk about the challenges I would face as the president. I've got a massive organization to run with millions of people working for me, but you know what? A lot of them hate me because they're partisan Democrats. It's like they're trying to bring me down. So what do? Well, on day one, I'll get a new director for the FBI, for starters. And we need to make sure we have the right people in all the positions throughout the executive branch. In summary, I aim to be a strong and accountable leader focused on positive change. I highlighted the importance of having the right people in government standing up to scrutiny and holding individuals accountable. With polls showing a portion of Republican voters hesitant about Trump, I need to find a message that resonates with them without alienating others. It's not an easy task, but I'm confident in my ability to connect with the voters and deliver my vision for a better future. Thank you for listening to this PodFast of my conversation with Tucker Carlson on the summit. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. See you next time.